a chain of stretches across the Pacific, home to wild horses and world-class dive spots located just radar towers now rise from these islands, missile batteries activate, and troops arrive in increasing numbers, transforming this paradise into a military fortress. This is Japan's missile archipelago, a strategic response to China's expanding military presence in the region. Japan, bound for decades by its post-World War II pacifist constitution, is undergoing its most dramatic military transformation in over. At the center of this shift sits a fortified missile archipelago along the Ai, stretching from the westernmost island of to the main islands near. This military buildup represents more than defensive posturing. It constitutes Japan's direct response to China's military expansion and increasing threats concerning Taiwan, has committed to reaching on defense spending this year, ahead of the original schedule, and has suggested that Japan could deploy forces if Beijing moves against Taipei. China responded by demanding she retract these statements, while simultaneously locking fire control radar on Japanese jets last week. Japanese officials framed the buildup as necessary for national survival, noting that sits just making these islands potential ground zero in any regional conflict. The military construction spans the entire Ryukyu chain, with missile batteries, radar networks, ammunition bunkers, and electronic warfare units creating a layered defensive shield. On Derpaun Shrine, an island with a population of known for diving destinations, a military base established in now houses. Next year, will arrive to jam enemy communications and drones. Medium-range surface-to-air missiles will deploy soon for anti-air defense, while anti-ship missiles guard southern outposts like On in the north, and long-range strike missiles are expanding operations, supported by a force comparable to U.S. Marine Corps units. Functions as the nerve center for these operations, with anti-ship bases in and command operations facilities, and U.S. installations including an electromagnetic weapons are part of the arsenal, capable of disrupting radar locks like the one China employed against Japanese last weekend. The system operates as a kill chain, detect threats, jam their systems, then strike, potentially sharing targeting data with U.S. forces. The cost reaches billions in accelerated defense spending, though exact budget figures remain classified. The Ryukyu chain extends approximately creating what critics call a missile archipelago, while supporters describe it as essential deterrence infrastructure. Historical context explains this dramatic shift from pacifism to military preparedness. After World War II's brutal Ain Rao, which killed over Binus, Japan adopted its renouncing war. The Ryukyu Islands remained under U.S. administration until, following terms of that China characterizes as invalid. China's claims on Taiwan, rooted in the now extend to questioning Ryukyu's sovereignty, fueling independence discussions on Chinese social media platform Weibo. The reforms under Prime Minister Abe unlocked collective self-defense provisions, allowing Japan to aid allies when its own survival faces threat. The critical turning point arrived when Chinese missiles landed near Yonaguni following Nancy Pelosi's Taiwan visit, accompanied by drone incursions into Japanese airspace. With President Xi's People's Liberation Army openly pursuing Taiwan's submission, Japan views the Ryukyu Islands as the first domino in potential regional conflict. Former Lieutenant General articulated the strategic imperative. This statement encapsulates the deterrence philosophy driving the archipelago's militarization, demonstrating capability and willingness to resist Chinese military action in the region. Local populations experience the militarization with mixed reactions and significant anxiety. On Yonaguni, a packed town hall meeting on Drew who questioned officials about the military expansion. Car mechanic expressed support for electronic warfare units, stating residents feel, however, mayor opposes deploying anti-ship batteries, citing on the island's small population. Okinawa's protests reflect deeper historical trauma from World War II. Elder resident asks, during demonstrations against base expansion, the tourism industry has suffered dramatically, within losses and flights grounded through. Critics, including members of Japan's Communist Party, condemn the development as creating a missile archipelago that increases regional war risk, rejects the missile archipelago characterization, insisting the installations serve public opinion, reveals generational divisions on the military buildup, support increased defense measures, while older populations who remember wartime devastation express greater caution about military expansion. The strategic implications extend far beyond the islands themselves. Japan's defensive network integrates with U.S. military bases in Okinawa under mutual defense treaty provisions that cover the disputed. Analyst warns that declining a U.S. request for assistance in Taiwan defense scenarios would mean that China interprets the military buildup as encirclement, responding with increased military drills and expanded territorial claims. A Taiwan conflict would likely make Yonaguni a target, according to military experts, with consequences for global trade routes transiting the region. Lawmaker states, the system aims to deter Chinese aggression, but incidents like last week's radar lock demonstrate how quickly deterrence can approach escalation. One miscalculation in this heavily militarized environment could trigger broader conflict. Future expansion plans include additional troops, missiles, and joint military exercises with U.S. forces. Former Yonaguni mayor advocates for incorporating Taiwan into joint U.S.-Japan training exercises. Yonaguni could develop into a comprehensive targeting hub once anti-air missile systems deploy in. However, electoral results like Mayor Weiqi's victory on an anti-militarization platform signal continuing local resistance to expansion. China reportedly targets as the year its military achieves readiness for Taiwan operations, creating urgency for Japan's defensive preparations. Japanese strategic planners operate on the principle of demonstrating resolve immediately rather than facing regret later. This calculation drives accelerated military construction across the Ryukyu chain, despite local opposition and economic costs. The And Islands received anti-ship battery installations inaugurated in Sam, adding to the defensive network. Kyushu's ongoing expansion includes facilities for long-range strike missiles and additional aircraft, creating offensive capability alongside defensive systems. Okinawa's role as command center coordinates these dispersed installations into unified defensive operations, with U.S. bases providing additional integration points for allied operations. The returning the Ryukyus to Japanese administration remains contested by China, which questions the legitimacy of post-war territorial arrangements. This historical dispute adds legal complexity to current military tensions, with Chinese officials citing wartime declarations to challenge Japanese sovereignty over islands now hosting military installations aimed at deterring Chinese forces. Electronic warfare specialists arriving on Yonaguni will operate systems capable of jamming communications, disrupting radar guidance, and interfering with drone operations. These capabilities proved relevant during last week's incident when Chinese forces locked fire control radar on Japanese aircraft. Electromagnetic countermeasures could prevent similar targeting in future encounters. The Ryukyu chain's geographic position creates what military planners call a first island chain, forming a natural barrier between Chinese naval forces and the open Pacific. Control of these islands provides either containment advantage for Japan and the United States, or breakout necessity for China's expanding navy. This geographic reality explains why relatively small, sparsely populated islands receive such intensive military investment and generate such significant regional tensions. Settings: use YouTube audio library, only add bold subtitles with popping effect. Use a male voice for the narrator. Settings: add bold subtitles with popping effect. Use YouTube audio library, only. Use a male clear American voice for the narrator.